Hey YouTube, it's your boy B-Boy Snatch on TV, aka Wakanda Snatch One, because I got playing around. As you can tell by the title of the video and the thumbnail, this is my WWE NXT review and highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning over towards the end. Hit that subscribe button for more wrestling content I do on the channel, because I'm on the road to 11K before the end of April. Follow all my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE Raw review and highlights I did on the channel yesterday. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, WWE NXT was a decent show for what it was, and I give it a 5 out of 10. The main event match between Lola and Kendal was a good match, but the ending was just confusion. So this is a go home show before NXT Stand and Deliver. All right. It says where was I? It says the Infosys Theater at Madison Square Garden, New York City. That's where NXT was live from. So, commentators tonight were Vic Joseph and a Hall of Famer Booker T. Ring announcer Mike Rome. It says, so we get the first match in the 6th. So we get Mike Santana and OTM versus Dark State in a 6-man tag team match. This was a fun match to watch. Bronco Nima and Shaquan Sugar will start things off. Shaquan Sugars immediately knocks Mike Santana off the ring apron. Shaquan Sugars tags in Oris Griffin. Oris Griffin runs into Nima. Double lariat forearm in exchange. Oris Griffin kicks Nima in the gut. Oris Griffin whips Nima across the ring. Oris Griffin with a running back elbow smash. Deion Lennox tags himself in. Deion Lennox with heavy body shots. Deion Lennox applies a front face lock. Nima drives Deion Lennox back first into the turnbuckles. Price tags himself in. Price with heavy body shots in the corner. Price tags in Nima. Nima punches Deion Lennox in the ribs. Nima whips Deion Lennox back first into the turnbuckles. Nima levels Deion Lennox with a body avalanche. Nima tags in Mike Santana. Mike Santana with a running uppercut. Mike Santana with a belly to back suplex. Mike Santana slams Deion Lennox's head on the top turnbuckle pad. Mike Santana tags in Price. Price goes for a body slam, but Deion Lennox lands back on his feet. Deion Lennox shoves Price. Shaquan Sugars tags himself in. Price with a inside out slam. Price slaps Shaquan Sugars in the chest. Shaquan Sugars kicks Price in the chest. Price reverses out of the Irish whip from Shaquan Sugars. Oris Griffin made the blonde tag. Shaquan Sugars leapfrogs over Price. Price goes for a press slam, but Oris Griffin comes with a running shoulder block into the turnbuckle. Shaquan Sugars with a flying corner drop kick. Oris Griffin tags in Deion Lennox. Price sends Oris Griffin shoulder first into the steel ring post. Price kicks Deion Lennox in the face. Price tags in Nima. Nima with a running foot stomp. Nima catches Shaquan Sugars in midair. Nima with a backbreaker. Nima puts Shaquan Sugars on the top of Deion Lennox. Nima with a running seated senton into the ropes. Nima stands on the top of Shaquan Sugars' neck. Nima with a reverse body slam. Nima rocks Deion Lennox with a forearm smash. Nima knocks Oris Griffin off the apron. Deion Lennox delivers a chop block. Deion Lennox drops Nima with a DDT. Deion Lennox rakes the eyes of Nima. Simultaneous tag to Oris Griffin. Shaquan Sugars is trying to calm down Deion Lennox. Oris Griffin with 2 body shots. Oris Griffin with a short arm clothesline. Oris Griffin applies a side headlock. Oris Griffin tags in Shaquan Sugars. Oris Griffin with another gut punch. Following a snapmare takeover. Oris Griffin with a running leg drop. Shaquan Sugars with a leg drop of his own for a 2 count. Shaquan Sugar puts his knees on the back of Nima's neck. Deion Lennox kicks Nima behind the referee's back. Shaquan Sugars tags in Deion Lennox. Deion Lennox with 2 knee drops. Deion Lennox used the middle rope to choke Nima. Nima is displaying his fighting spirit. Deion Lennox with a double leg takedown. Deion Lennox transitions into a ground and pound attack. Deion Lennox applies a front face lock. Deion Lennox kicks Price off the apron. Nima push kicks Dion Lennox across the ring. Nima made the it says Nima made the tag to Mike Santana, but the referee was distracted by Dion Lennox. Dion Lennox kicks Nima in the face. Dion Lennox tags in Shaquan Sugar. Shaquan Sugar's with a running elbow strike / reckoning ball drop kick combination for a 2 count. Shaquan Sugar applies a top wrist lock. Nima is throwing haymakers at Shaquan Sugar. Shaquan Sugar's drop kicks the left knee off of Nima. Shaquan Sugar's tags in Oris Griffin. Oris Griffin stomps on Nima's chest. Nima blocks the belly to back suplex. Nima avoids the flying double foot stomp. Shaquan Sugar stomps Nima stops Nima in his tracks. Nima with a back body drop. Nima tags in Prince. Prince super kicks Oris Griffin. Price headbutts Dion Lennox. Price with two stinger splashes. Oris Griffin sidesteps Price into the turnbuckles. Price with a leaping foot stomp. Price with a press slam into Dion Lennox. Price follows that with a Uranus slam for a 2 count. Simultaneous tag to Dion Lennox. Price with a leaping double foot stomp. Price tags in Mike Santana. Mike Santana clotheslines Dion Lennox. Mike Santana clears the ring. Mike Santana dives over Dion Lennox. Mike Santana blocks a boot from Dion Lennox. Mike Santana with the step up insecurity. Mike Santana does a clothesline from Dion Lennox. Dion Lennox dives over Mike Santana. Mike Santana drops Dion Lennox with the roll through cutter. Mike Santana lands a suicide dive. Mike Santana is fired up. Mike Santana with a fall splash for a 2 count. Oris Griffin pulls Dion Lennox away from the turnbuckles. Simultaneousness tag to Shaquan Sugar. Mike Santana kicks Oris Griffin in the face. Mike Santana launches Shaquan Sugar onto the middle turnbuckle. Assisted pop-up powerbomb for a 2 count. A pure 6 brawl ensures on the outside. Mike Santana rolls Shaquan Sugar for a 2 count. Mike Santana thirst kicks the midsection of Shaquan Sugar. Mike Santana goes for a powerbomb, but Shaquan Sugar lands back on his feet. Shaquan Sugar dodged the step up insecurity. Mike Santana leapfrogs over Shaquan Sugar. Mike Santana drops Shaquan Sugar with a Death Valley driver. In midair, Mike Santana tags in Price. Mike Santana connects with a spin block. Mike Santana wipes out Darkstay with a somersault plancha. OTM plants Shaquan Sugar with a double Samoan drop to pick up the victory. The winner of the match, Mike Santana and OTM. This was a fun 6-man tag team match. Miles Bourne's sit down interview. This was a pretty good sit down interview. Vic Joseph, Miles Bourne is been a minute since you and I have sat here. I know last year was the best for you. You weren't part of Standard Delivery. There was a lot of ups and downs, but you're sitting here. I'm sorry. The North American champion. What has this 12 months journey be like for you? Miles Bourne. Well, Vic, I always have to go back and thank the No Corner Catch crew. I wouldn't be half the man I am today if it wasn't for the members of them. But the truth is, there's one more man I need to thank for the fact that I am a champion now, and that's Ethan Page. You see, Ethan Page showed me that in order to win, sometimes you have to do what others aren't willing to do. He gave me an edge made me champion, and that edge is going to keep me champion. Vic Joseph says, well, this Saturday you're walking into Standard Delivery in St. Louis as champion. What is being champion at Standard Delivery mean to you? Miles Bourne says, well, Vic Joseph, like you said, I wasn't a part of Standard Delivery last year, and I took that personally this year. I'm not just part of it. I'm walking and as your North American champion, and as North American champion, and as hard as it was to become champion, it's going to be even harder to stay champion. But I plan on leaving Stand and Deliver the same way I walked in. Big Joseph says, Big Joseph says, Miles, you're taking on Johnny Gargano, someone that I know very well. Somebody has never been outperformed in a big match in the history of this brand, and we can't question his motives right now. But many questions to you is: are you expecting Johnny Wrestling Saturday in St. Louis? Miles Morris responded by saying Johnny is a Triple Crown champion, 3-time North American champion. A lot of people around here said that Ethan Page is the greatest North American championship of all time, but I think Johnny Gargano is right up there with him. It doesn't really matter where his head at. At the end of the day, I'm facing a SmackDown superstar. I don't know which side of him is going to show up, but I really hope it's Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Gargano interrupts the interview. Johnny Gargano says, you want Johnny Wrestling, you need to be careful what you ask for. And before Stand and Deliver, there was Takeover, and they used to call me Johnny Takeover, and that guy is still somewhere in here. And you better pray I don't find him on Saturday, because if I do, I will eat you alive. But Miles Warren, this isn't professional. This isn't personal. I'm sorry. That is very personal, because if I win that, I'll go back to SmackDown. I get my life back, and I become the man I was always meant to be. If I lose, well, I don't really know what happens. But one thing I do know is in St. Louis, it will take you into deeper waters than you ever been in before, and show you what it means to be a champion here on this brand. Because for the first time in 2 months, I am not going to lay down and die. I will stand and deliver like only I can, because I have more than you know. It says that was a good sit down interview with Miles Warren. With Miles Warren and Johnny Gargano. I like this sit down interview. This was really good. Win Sinclair hypes up Kendal Gray ahead of her big #1 contenders main event. So we get the second match: Los Americanos versus the Birthright. The winners will battle the Vanity Project for the WWE NXT Tag Team Championship at NXT Stand and Deliver. In this tag team match right here, this was this match right here, it was just okay for what it was, and that's all I gotta say. Los Americanos starts things off with stereo slingshots. Because those Bravo rolls counters back into the ring. Bravo unloads a series of left jabs. Bravo uppercuts counters, but Bravo applies a side headlock. Counters whips Bravo across the ring. Counters draws down on the canvas. Bravo with the inverted atomic drop. Bravo drop kicks. Counters launches Bravo over the top rope. Rayo tags himself in. Los Americanos squeeze out the legs of Counters. Los Americanos repeatedly drives Counters crouching first into the steel ring post. Chop exchange. Counters tags in Lorenzo. Rayo ducks a clothesline from Lorenzo. Rayo does the Spider-Man pose on the ropes. Rayo with a quick roll-up for a 2 count. Rayo is lighting up Lorenzo's chest. Rayo with a double leg takedown. Rayo tags in Bravo. Rayo slingshots Lorenzo into a forearm smash from Bravo. Assisted slingshot 10 times. Counters runs interference. Lorenzo attacks Bravo from behind. Lorenzo slams Bravo's head on the ring apron. Lorenzo rolls Bravo back into the ring. Lorenzo starts dancing with Ariana Grace on the outside. The TNA Knockout Championship looks terrible on Ariana Grace, and that's all I gotta say. Anyway, Bravo with a baseball slide. Drop kick. Bravo dances with Ariana Grace. Bravo kicks Lorenzo in the gut. Bravo rolls Lorenzo back into the ring. Lorenzo drops Bravo with a running haymaker. Lorenzo sends Bravo face first into the middle rope, the middle turnbuckle pad. Lorenzo is mauling Bravo in the corner. Lorenzo goes for a belly to back suplex, but Bravo lands back on his feet. Bravo shoves Lorenzo into the turnbuckles. Rayo and Connors are tagged in. Rayo with a flying seated senton. Rayo with a running enziguri to Lorenzo. Rayo follows that with a basement dropkick. Rayo with the shotgun meteor. Connors avoids the moonsault press. Connors with the springboard stunner for a 2 count. Connors with a blistering chop. Connors whips Rayo back first into the turnbuckles. Connors is lighting up Rayo's chest. Connors puts Rayo on the top turnbuckle. Rayo blocks the superplex. Rayo with the sunset flip. Powerbomb. Rayo tags in Bravo. Bravo transitions into a corner mount. Bravo with a back body drop. Connors tags in Lorenzo. Bravo scores another back body drop. Bravo chops Lorenzo. Bravo transitions into another corner mount. Bravo tags in Rayo. Rayo with a forearm smash. Lorenzo drops Rayo back first into the turnbuckles. Connors tags himself in. Double leg sweep. Connors with running boot. Lorenzo with a running cannonball strike. Connors hooks both legs for a 2 count. Connors applies a knee bar. Connors tags in Lorenzo. Lorenzo with a knee drop for a 1 count. And Lorenzo and Rayo are trading back and forth shots. Lorenzo with 2 knee drops. Lorenzo whips Rayo across the ring. Lorenzo claws on Rayo for a 2 count. Lorenzo tags in Connors. Chop / forearm exchange. Connors with the discussed back elbow smash. Rayo responds with a X-Press. Bravo and Lorenzo are tagging. Bravo with a flying crossbody block. Bravo with a diving clothesline. Bravo does a clothesline from Connors. Bravo with a pop-up boot. Bravo with a step up enziguri. Bravo follows that with the airplane spin. Ariana Grace runs interference. Lexis King attacks Bravo with the cane behind the referee's back. Lorenzo delivers a shining wizard for a 2 count. Lexis King runs away from Shallow Hill, who's holding a steel chair. Rayo with a running enziguri. Rayo puts Lorenzo on the top turnbuckle. Hurricane / flying smash, spine splash combination for a 2 count. Connors sends Rayo crashing to the outside. Connors tags himself in. Bravo blocks a boot from Connors. Connors with a spinning enziguri from the airplane, from the apron. Lorenzo with a twisted face plant. Lorenzo lands a suicide dive. Connors with the swanton bomb for a 2 count. Connors gets distracted by El Grande Americano. Rayo gives Bravo a steel plate. Rayo kicks Lorenzo off the apron. Connors super kicks Rayo. Bravo does a clothesline from Connors. Bravo connects with the running headbutt to pick up the victory after the match. Los Americanos had a quick standoff with the Vanity Project. The winners of the match, the Los Americanos. This tag team match was decent, and that's all I gotta say. Dion Lennox starts throwing a massive hit in the backstage area. He doesn't know what happened. Darkseid have gotten so close to everything they wanted. They're the dangers in NXT, not the other way around. Shaquan Sugars reminds Dion Lennox that when Darkseid strikes, ain't nobody safe. Dion Lennox says that he's going to make sure of that as Santa delivered. Alright, so we get the third match. Should we get Keilani Jordan versus Jada Parker? Now this was a good match in my opinion, but I'm glad Jada Parker won. This was a good match. Keilani Jordan sidesteps the charging Jada Parker after the bell rings. Kehlani Jordan plays around with Jada Parker's hair. Kehlani Jordan slaps Jada Parker in the face. Kehlani Jordan ducks under a forearm smash from Jada Parker. Jada Parker drops Kehlani Jordan with a big boot. Jada Parker drives Kehlani Jordan face first into the top turnbuckle pad. Jada Parker is throwing haymakers at Kehlani Jordan. The referee calls for a clean break. Jada Parker slaps Kehlani Jordan in the face. Kehlani Jordan kicks Jada Parker in the face. Kehlani Jordan drives Jada Parker's shoulder first into the top turnbuckle pad. Kehlani Jordan kicks the left hamstring of Jada Parker. Kehlani Jordan pulls Jada Parker down to the mat. Kehlani Jordan stomps on Jada Parker's chest. Jada Parker reverses out of the Irish whip from Kehlani Jordan. Jada Parker with a hair pull takedown. Kehlani Jordan was contemplating walking out of the match. Jada Parker sends Kehlani Jordan face first in the ring apron. Jada Parker rolls Kehlani Jordan back into the ring. Kehlani Jordan with club and blows to Jada Parker's back. Kehlani Jordan pulls Jada Parker out of the ring. Kehlani Jordan sends Jada Parker shoulder first into the steel ring steps. Kehlani Jordan has complete control of the match during the commercial break. Kehlani Jordan applies the Cobra Clutch. Jada Parker repeatedly backs Kehlani Jordan into the turnbuckles. Jada Parker drives Kehlani Jordan back first into the canvas. Jada Parker transitions into a ground and pound attack. Jada Parker shoves Kehlani Jordan off the top rope. Kehlani Jordan is favoring her left knee. Jada Parker tells Kehlani Jordan to bring it. Jada Parker rocks Kehlani Jordan with a forearm smash. Jada Parker throws Kehlani Jordan back into the ring the hard way. Jada Parker with 2 shoulder tackles. Jada Parker does Kehlani Jordan with a elbow smash. Jada Parker clotheslines Kehlani Jordan. Jada Parker blocks a big boot from Kehlani Jordan. Jada Parker lays Kehlani Jordan flat on the middle turnbuckle. Jada Parker with 2 overhead chops. Jada Parker delivers the teardrop. Jada Parker plays to the crowd. Kehlani Jordan nails Jada Parker with a running pump kick. Jada Parker responds with the big boot for a 2 count. Kehlani Jordan blocks the vertical suplex. Jordan hammers down on the left shoulder of Jada Parker. Jada Parker with an arm bar takedown. Kehlani Jordan applies a modified short arm scissors. Jada Parker with the rolling curve for a 2 count. Kehlani Jordan kicks Jada Parker in the face. Kehlani Jordan with a double foot stomp. Kehlani Jordan hits the forward splash for a 2 count. Kehlani Jordan is starting to get frustrated. Kehlani Jordan with the wasteland. Kehlani Jordan walks over Jada Parker. Jada Parker denies the split-legged moonsault. Jada Parker with the avalanche. Release German suplex. Jada Parker delivers the hyponic whatever that is, hyponic. I'm just gonna pronounce that. The hyponic. The Jada Parker connects with the Deja Vu to pick up the victory. The winner of the match, Jada Parker. This was a good match between Jada Parker and Kehlani Jordan. The Vanity Project runs into Blake Monroe into the backstage area where they're contemplating flirting with her, but with how Tatum Paxley acted last week, they offer to have Blake Monroe back just in case anything happens. Blake Monroe says she'll be fine because when the glamour obsession is just another accessory. And last week, Tatum caught Blake Monroe by surprise, but tonight she's ready for anything. Alright, so we get the Joe Hendry, Ricky Sainz, Ethan Page, Tony D'Angelo, and NXT standard delivery contract signing. Now this was a good segment right here in my own opinion. This was a good segment. But in my honest opinion, I got Tony D'Angelo taking the NXT champion off of Joe Hendry. And that's all I gotta say. I don't want to see Ricky Sainz and Ethan Page get that NXT championship. Robert Stone says, so standard delivery is this Saturday, and 4 of NXT's biggest superstars are going to be in a final fatal 4-way match for the NXT championship. It's going to be Tony D'Angelo versus Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry. 4 amazing athletes. I cannot think of a bigger main event on NXT, biggest show of the year. So, gentlemen, let's lock this in, shall we? Ricky Saints and Ethan Page still having a tug of war with the contract binder and deciding who should sign the contract first. Joe Hendry proceeds to snatch the contract away from Ethan Page and signs it. Joe Hendry says, "You know, I can't wait to see which one of you stabs the other one in the back first, because you both can stand the idea of the other one being the one to take the NXT championship. But here's the thing. This little friendship that you guys have going on, I know it's gonna fall apart. And that's because you made a mistake. You can't distinguish between passion and depression. The depression. You guys are desperate to be NXT champion again. But I am passionate about being the NXT champion. I am passionate about NXT. I am passionate about being right here in New York City tonight. And I am going to take that passion and use it to defend my NXT championship. Because in spite of all the lies, the deception, the jealousy that you guys have going on, I'll be the one to stand. I'll be the one to deliver. And you will see me waving my hands from side to side, with that entire world chanting, "We believe." Ricky Saints says, "Oh, okay, Bing Bong, shut up. What are you, Dr. Phil? Stick to signing your little song instead of physicalize. Physicalize our friendship that me and Ethan have. Let me tell you something, alright? I know you don't have friends in this life, and you don't understand, but me and him, yes, we want the same thing, but that doesn't mean that we can't support each other. More importantly, you shouldn't even be champion. Honestly, that title should have been given back to me. That way you weren't being climbing up ladders and stealing the thing from me. So here, what I'm going to do on Saturday at Stand and Deliver, I am going to make everything right in this world for once, when I become a 2-time NXT champion. Ethan Page says, "Stop. Thank you. Now everything will be right in the world Saturday, because you know what? I've been wasting my time focusing on being the greatest North American. I feel like I was selling myself short. And my good friend Ricky Saints remind me of a true value, and the truth is there's a more better than me in entirely of the WWE. I don't want to be the greatest North American. No, I deserve global recognition. So I will be the one becoming the NXT 2-time. I will become NXT champion, 2-time NXT champion." Ricky Saints says, "Wow, that's actually gonna mean there's gonna be a 2-time NXT champion." And this is my favorite part right here. Tony D'Angelo says, "All right, enough. Listen, I used to do these sit down and business like this. I get it. Now you three have all had that title. Ethan Page, you came right into NXT and grab it, but just as fast as you won it, you're losing it. Ricky Saints, you came in. You were supposed to be the new face of the brand, and you're absolute underwhelming failure." And Joe Hendry, "Listen, man, I got no quarters with you, all right? But this isn't about going viral or fan interaction. This is about winning the biggest prize that NXT has to offer now. You may not agree with me, but you're an outsider just like them. I'm NXT born and hired, born and beard. NXT is my blood. It's my blood now. I don't care who you are from, and what you're done. Because come Saturday at Standard Delivery, I'm gonna run you three over like a freight train. Now, Robert Stone, you know how these things go. I suggest you get out of the ring. Tony D'Angelo slams Ricky Saints' head into the table. Joe Hendry starts brawling with Ethan Page. All hell is breaking loose in Frosty Theater. Ricky Saints blocks. Don't forget about it. Ethan Page delivers a low blow to Joe Hendry. Tony D'Angelo chokeslams Ricky Saints through a table. Ethan Page puts Joe Hendry through another table. But the All Ego and Tony D'Angelo, All Ego's edge. Tony D'Angelo and Ethan Page get into a pull apart brawl to close this contract signing. This was a good segment. In my opinion, I got Tony D'Angelo going over Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and Joe Hendry. That's all I gotta say. Alright, so we get the fourth match. So we get Kendal Carvers versus Joshua Troy. Josh Ridge will be the special guest referee. In my opinion, this was a solid match. What it was, Carvers attacks Joshua Troy and danced during his entrance. Carver drives Joshua Troy's face first into the steel ring post. Carver says Joshua Troy crashed into the steel ring steps. Carver and Joshua Troy engaged in a tug of war over Joshua Troy's shame. Joshua Troy drives Carvers with a shoulder tackle. Joshua Troy dumps Carvers face first onto the ring post. Joshua Troy rolls Carvers back into the ring. Josh Ridge finally rings the bell. Joshua Troy levels Carvers with the body avalanche. Joshua Troy goes for a body slam, but Carvers lands back on his feet. Carvers breaks the eyes of Joshua Troy. Carvers headbutts Joshua Troy. Carvers rocks Joshua Troy with a forearm smash. Carvers repeatedly stomps on Joshua Troy's chest. Carvers is choking Joshua Troy with his boot. Josh Ridge admires Carvers. Carvers talks smack to Booker T. Carvers goes after a fan at ringside. Josh Ridge had to hold Carvers back. Carvers continues to talk smack to Booker T. Joshua Troy chokeslams Carvers through an outside table. Joshua Troy rolls Carvers back into the ring. Joshua Troy hits the black hole slam for a 2 count. Joshua Troy shoves Josh Ridge. Josh Ridge drives Joshua Troy with a big boot. Carvers delivers the pounds. Carvers connects with their running power slam to pick up the victory. After the match, Carvers wants Josh Ridge to raise his hand. Josh Ridge drops Carvers with a big lariat. So the winner of the match, Kendal Carvers. This was a solid match. What it was. We see Shawn Legacy talking to Hank and Tank, Ella, Lee Flair, and Eli Knight in the locker room. Shawn Legacy says that he's still in recovery, but he should be back in action very soon. Hank and Tank are dejected about losing the birthright in the NXT Tag Team Tournament, but they'll get back on their feet. Lee Flair had a serious shoulder injury, and he's going to be out of action for 6 months. Because of that, Lee Flair will be relinquishing his WWE Speed Champion. Lee Flair had a conversation with Robert Stone, and there will be a tournament starting next week to crown the new champion, and Eli Knight will be participating in it. When Sinclair, it says when Sinclair comes in to check on Lee Flair, Charlotte Hill barged in and is super giddy about what he did to the birthright. Tank Legger says that he appreciates Charlotte Hill anachronism, but they're all on the outside looking in and looking at what it comes to standard delivery. Now it's not the right time. Charlie Hill knows that he's not on standard delivery, but he has an idea and he walks away. All right, so we get Tatum. So we get Blake Monroe and Tatum Paxley segment. And this segment right here, I ain't even gonna lie, this was a cool segment. All right, Tatum Paxley. Last week, I felt good, so good to grab Blake Monroe by her perfect platinum blonde hair. She was crying. She was crying and screaming, and I almost kicked down the door to kick down the door to her hotel room. But then I thought Blake Monroe is a very complex woman, and that just excites me. So I gave her the autumn she come here. Bring my title to me, the New York City. So Blake Monroe have something to say belong to me, and I would love it back. So come on out, and let's play. Blake Monroe says, Tater, darling. I don't understand what your problem is with me. I mean, I have no issue with you, and you see this North American Women's Champion just feels right. I never did lose in this the first place, and now that I am in my hands, I just hope you understand. I just can't give it back. I can't. Tatum Paxley says, I can see why people get so blinded by glamour. But let's face it, you have something that I want, but I think I have something you might want too. Blake Monroe says, Tatum, look at you and look at me. How can that possibly be true? Tatum Paxley says, you have my championship, and I have the opportunity that you have been waiting for in the palms of my hands. The opportunity for you to have your first standard delivery match, because what NXT's biggest show of the year without Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe, you're different. There are parts to you that people wouldn't understand, but I would, and I get why you wouldn't want to talk about those parts, because you buried them so deep. But wouldn't you just hate it if you had to sit at home and just watch stand and deliver? You carved that sense of belonging, and I get it. That feeling is deep within me, because that feeling has caused me to do unbelievable harm. It has taken my mind to that place that I never thought existed, and I think you feel all that too, because that's why you're holding that title that doesn't belong to you. So let's make both of us happy here. We can get what we want. This Saturday, how about you and I just have some fun? Blake Monroe says, that's quite the proposition, and you would be the perfect co-star to start alongside me on the biggest show. I accept your offer for a match this Saturday. Tatum Paxley says, that's so great. Blake Monroe says, but to say the same thing that runs through your brain, run through mine. It's a little crazy. Tatum Paxley, even for you and I are polar opposite. I am a polished woman, and I am perfection. I am the standard of NXT. The CW name and Empress Martini after me. My hotel was a view of the sea, and you look like you belong in the crowd with these dirty New Yorkers. You're a sweet girl, Tatum Paxley, but you are a champion by title. This championship needs a woman like me. Tatum Paxley says, no, 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 no. You're going to give me my title back because I'm not going to be blindsided by some chorus level crap. I get that you're a side to you that comes out when you get ready angry, when you get really angry. But there is a worse side to me. I can be the goth to your glamour. I can be the fire in your. I can be the fighter to your. I'll let you decide your fate for Saturday, but tonight you're going to give back what belongs to me. Tug of war assures. Tatum Paxley with a forearm shivers. Tatum Paxley whips Blake Monroe across the ring. Tatum Paxley scores her forearm knockdown. Tatum Paxley drops Blake Monroe with a spinning heel kick. Blake Monroe snatches the title away from Tatum Paxley, and she exits the ring. That was a good segment between Tatum Paxley and Blake Monroe. Sarah Scribble had a backstage interview with Robert Stone. This is Stone's first stand-and delivery as the new general manager of NXT. Robert Stone says that the card is absolutely stacked, but somebody came up to him and gave him a great idea on the countdown show that will be airing before NXT stand and delivery. There will be a 10-person mixed tag team match with all the birthright taking on Shallow Hill, Hank and Tank, and Winston Clare. Canoe Carvers joins the conversation. Carvers wants a piece of Josh Briggs right now. Robertson tells Carvers that he'll be battling Josh Briggs and Jasper Troy in a triple threat match next week. We hear loud commotion in the back. Keelan Jordan is viciously attacking Jetta Parker. Jetta Parker had to be held back by the referees. We got a video package on a downfall of Saruka's friendship. Jessie Jane is glad to be out of Saruka's mess. Everybody always lets her championship get in her way of their friendship. But luckily for Jessie Jane, Fatal Influence is in a good place. We see Easy Dame standing behind Fatal Influence. Easy Dame says that Jessie Jane has been on top for far too long to start acting dumb now. She knows why everybody wants what she has, and she's not talking about Fallon Henley or Lanley Reed. Izzy Dame makes a crystal clear what she wants. So Izzy Dame is going to come for Jessie Jane NXT Women's Championship. But I believe that they're teasing Fallon Henley to turn on Jessie Jane at Stand and Deliver. And I can definitely see that happening. NXT Stand and Deliver 2026 match cards. Soruka versus Zarya. The Vanity Project, accompanied by Justin Drake versus Los Americanos, accompanied by El Grande Americano for the WWE NXT Tag Team Champions. Miles Moore versus John Gargano, accompanied by Candice LeRae for the WWE NXT North American Championship. That's going to be a good match. And Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe for the WWE NXT Women's North American Championship. That'll also be a good match. And Jessie Jane, accompanied by Fatal Influence versus Kendal Gray, accompanied by Winston Clare for the WWE NXT Women's Championship, which is obviously not going to be a triple threat match. Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints versus Tony D'Angelo in a Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE NXT Championship. And I got my boy Tony D'Angelo taking that title off of Joe Hendry. So we get the main event of the evening. So we get the fifth match, Lola Vice versus Kendal Gray, accompanied by Winston Clare. The winner will battle Jessie Jane for the WWE NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. This was a good match, but the end of the match was just confusion. Collar and elbow tied up. Lola Vice with an arm drag takeover. Kendal Gray with a waist lock takedown. Kendal Gray grabbles around Lola Vice. Standing switch exchange. Lola Vice with a mat return. Kendal Gray with a deep arm drag. That leads us to a quick standoff in the center of the ring. Kendal Gray with two arm drags. Lola Vice grabs a side headlock. Lola Vice with a side headlock takeover. Kendal Gray wraps her legs around Lola Vice's neck. Kendal Gray transitions into a side headlock. Lola Vice enters with a head scissors neck lock. Kendal Gray applies a front face lock. Lola Vice sweeps out the legs of Kendal Gray. Lola Vice grabs another side headlock. Kendal Gray whips Lola Vice across the ring. Lola Vice draws Kendal Gray with a shoulder tackle. Lola Vice shakes her hips. Lola Vice whips Kendal Gray across the ring. Kendal Gray goes for a hip toss, but Lola Vice blocks it. Kendal Gray goes for a hip toss of her own, but Lola Vice counters with a cross arm breaker. Kendal Gray reversed the hold. Lola Vice rolls Kendal Gray rolls over for a 2 count. Lola Vice with an Irish whip slash knee lifting combination. Kendal Gray rolls Lola Vice over for a 1 count. Kendal Gray ducks Lola Vice with a back elbow smash. Kendal Gray sidesteps Lola Vice into the turnbuckles. Kendal Gray avoids a right hand from Lola Vice. Kendal Gray does a cartwheel on the ring apron. Kendal Gray slides under the leg on Lola Vice's legs. Kendal Gray runs around Lola Vice. Lola Vice punches Kendal Gray in the ribs. Lola Vice with 2 overhead chops. Lola Vice with a springboard arm drag. Lola Vice follows that with rapid fire shoulder kicks. Lola Vice poses for the crowd. Lola Vice with the running hip attack. Lola Vice goes for a second, but Kendal Gray ducks out of the way. Kendal Gray pulls Lola Vice shoulder first into the top rope. Lola Vice with a spinning back kick. Lola Vice with a flying seated senton off the apron. Lola Vice gets fired up. Lola Vice punches Kendal Gray in the back. Lola Vice rolls Kendal Gray back in the ring. Lola Vice delivers the 3 amigos for a 2 count. Lola Vice whips Kendal Gray across the ring. Lola Vice scores the elbow knockdown for a 1 count. Kendal Gray with a heavy body shots. Kendal Gray rolls Lola Vice over for a 1 count. Lola Vice kicks the left hamstring of Kendal Gray. Lola Vice applies a rear chin lock. Kendal Gray with elbow into the midsection of Lola Vice. Lola Vice uppercuts Kendal Gray. Kendal Gray with a back slide for a 2 count. Kendal Gray goes for another roll up, but Lola Vice counters with the LeBell lock. Lola Vice hooks the outside leg for a 2 count. Kendal Gray does a clothesline from Lola Vice. Both ladies are knocked down after a double clothesline. Kendal Gray ducks Lola Vice with a back elbow smash. Lola Vice kicks. It says Kendal Gray kicks Lola Vice in the face. Kendal Gray dives over Lola Vice. Kendal Gray scores 2 elbow knockdowns. Kendal Gray with a release German suplex. Kendal Gray pulls down the straps and she's fired up. Kendal Gray with a Sato suplex. Kendal Gray with a T-bone suplex. Lola Vice drives Kendal Gray's face first into the canvas. Kendal Gray dodges the 305. Kendal Gray applies the cross arm breaker. Lola Vice rolls Kendal Gray over for a 2 count. Kendal Gray goes for the shades of gray, but Lola Vice counters with a rear naked choke. Lola Vice bridges out of a pinning predicament. Lola Vice with the knee lifts. Lola Vice delivers to 305, but Kendal Gray falls to the floor. Fatal influence is running interference. Lola Vice blocks a German suplex. Lola Vice kicks the left shoulder of Kendal Gray. Lola Vice goes for a running hip attack once again. Lola Vice goes for a running hip attack against the steel ring steps. But Kendal Gray ducks out of the way. Kendal Gray rolls Lola Vice back into the ring. Kendal Gray extends the top turnbuckle. Kendal Gray goes for the shades of gray, but Lola Vice counters with a spinning heel kick for a 2 count. Kendal Gray clings onto the bottom rope. Lola Vice goes for the Sato suplex, but Kendal Gray lands back on her feet. Kendal Gray dodged the pump knee strike. Kendal Gray draws Lola Vice with a discussed back elbow smash for a 2 count. Lola Vice and Kendal Gray are trading back and forth shots. Lola Vice with a spinning back kick. Lola Vice with a repeatedly shoulder kicks. Kendal Gray applies the ankle lock. Lola Vice rolls Kendal Gray over for a 2 count. Kendal Gray with a double leg takedown. Lola Vice bridges out of the pinning combination. Lola Vice applies the guillotine choke. Kendal Gray refused to quit. Kendal Gray connects with a bridging Northern Light suplex to pick up the victory. After the match, another official ran down to the ring and mentions that Kendal Gray was tapping as the referee was making the 3 count. Shawn Michaels comes down to the ring, just pure chaos and bickering ensures as the show goes off the air. Kendal Gray wins. So the winner of the match, Kendal Gray, wins by pinfall. And WWE NXT goes off the air. But like I said before, the main event match between Lola Vice and Kendal Gray, that was a good match, but they ended with just confusion. But the winner should be Lola Vice and Kendal Gray. This is gonna be some controversy, but this is gonna be a triple threat match between Lola Vice, Kendal Gray, and Jessie J for the NXT Women's Championship. So this match should be a triple threat match, in my opinion. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my WWE NXT review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning or towards the end. Subscribe to my channel. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel, because I'm on the road to 11K before the end of April. Make sure you guys follow all my social media down below in the description, and I'll see you guys tonight for my AEW Dynamite review on highlights. So I want you guys to have a great. I want y'all, and I will be dropping my WWE NXT review. I will be dropping my world premiere for my WWE NXT review on highlights at around 5 o'clock a.m. on YouTube. And then I'll be having another world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review on highlights at around 5:30 right here on YouTube. So I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here, gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet, gang. And I'm so sorry that this video was long, but I had to get my WWE NXT review on highlights done. So I was gonna do my WWE NXT review on highlights last night, but I was so tired. But I got some sleep. But I got up the next day and I did it, which is today. So I want you guys to have a great day. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here, gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet, gang.